Hey, everybody. Welcome in. This one is a freaking monster. Some of the most difficult questions we've probably ever had. And I asked myself, why do I make this so difficult on myself? But it's also good. So part of the reason why I make it more difficult on myself is so I can get smarter myself too. Because the questions you guys ask are brilliant. But this one, it's been a stunning week. And I really enjoyed preparing for this. The work for this began on Thursday. Thank you, Bert Frank, and the mods in the chat, TSLK, John Donnelly. Let's go. We're going to talk about Bitcoin versus bots. Big topic. A big part of what I do is position myself where the puck is going to be. And we'll try to break some of that down. It won't be completely comprehensive. We'll unveil a brand new profit-taking first glimpse that's never been seen before on the planet of a new model. Early days yet, but it's where all our focus has been so far this year. We'll look at some DCA strategies, nailing bottoms, nailing tops, pair trading on steroid, bot vision, valuations on a bunch of stuff, baking them off against each other. We're going to talk about 93% win rate options plays. We're going to talk about poison pills, Toncoin, if there's a Solana next gem, and let's go. This is, again, it's going to be a hard one, but we'll try and make it through. Thank you all for coming on this special day. None of this is financial advice. All the questions come from the team in Patreon. Thank you to the whole team behind me, behind the curtain here. It's not a curtain, but if it was, there is a curtain somewhere. Anyway, and shout out to all the investing fathers out there. Happy Father's Day, everybody. They are paving the road to financial freedom, not only for themselves, but for their families. That's why I do this every single day. Doc and Turn, Iron, everybody's here. Let's go. First question. Now we're going to be bouncing all over the place. A lot of threads and questions actually dovetail in together and are related. So bear with me. Tricky set. First of all, we'll get the easy one out of the way first from Elizabeth K. Could you explain where to find funding rates of hedge funds for Bitcoin? The one Mando was talking about in your DCA show, he mentioned one should watch as when they go down, Bitcoin might pump. Excellent question. Let's talk about this. First of all, if you go to Google and you look up Bitcoin funding rates, it'll take you right to this site and it has all the top funding rates for Bitcoin. You can look at it over multiple periods of time. This is the daily from right now. And you can see Binance is positive. OKX is negative. Also, Vertex is negative, CoinX is negative. So these are the, where we stand right now. Focus on kind of Binance. It'll give you a good idea of where things are going. But where you find this as well, you can go directly to the websites of Binance and others, or you can aggregate them all. I'd like to see what's happening across the big centralized exchanges. Now, the short answer to this is when funding rates are elevated, arbitrageurs can short perp futures and buy the cryptocurrency in the spot market to profit from the price discrepancy. This is exactly what some of the big hedge funds are doing right now, like Millennium. They've got $2 billion in spot ETF, half IBIT, half FBTC, and they play this carry trade because the funding rates are positive. Now, if the tide turns, i.e. the funding rates flip negative, they can be caught with their pants down, forcing them, they own the spot, they go short. If the price goes up too fast for them to catch it, they have to cover and accelerate and cover their shorts, etc. So that can lead to a good situation, kind of a squeeze, and that's exactly how it works. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean this will happen. Maybe they'll just let the trade go. But sometimes it can lead to that. So that's why we watch these things very carefully. And we'll watch them every single week now on the DCA show on Mondays. Next question is from Greg1. When adding to an existing position, such as Tesla like you do, is there a formula you're using to maintain a low dollar cost average, or does it matter? Well, this is a great question. And as you know from all my trade alerts, they tend to get very, very close to bottoms during periods of time. And that's one of the things I try to specialize in, nailing tops, nailing bottoms. Let's talk about my process. And it is not that trivial, but it's so important as well, because having a system, having a process helps you make much better decisions, which helps you make much more money. That's why we do this. So first of all, DCAS, I always have this open on my computer. It helps you not only identify when the buying opportunities happen, but it keeps you out of the market during squeezes. When the color's red, it keeps you out. When the color is green, it will think about putting you in, and then you have the load. Do you do a 5x buy or a 0.3x buy, etc., depending on where the price action is. And that way you can stack a lot more for a lot less money at the opportune time. Again, I always say don't chase, replace. That's a big part of this here, what we call the squeeze model, which helps you not chase squeezes, but wait for things to mean revert, because everything mean reverts. We'll actually be talking a lot about mean reversion today. First of all, this is the mean reversion model. This is step 2. So keep an eye on DCAS, see what it says. If I want to stack and build a position, I wait for that. Then my golden child is mean reversion from IADSS. Here, I wait for extraordinary dips. And this is so important. So when things go real low, if you look at those green dots at the bottom, that's when things are completely oversold. And then you wait for the color line, which is the trend, to turn. So you wait for something to be oversold, and then you wait for the color line to turn. So if you look in the middle of that chart, you'll see we got 2 very oversold conditions. And then you just wait and wait till you see that blue. When you see the blue, you jump in. That was the $141 buy, done exactly using exactly that indicator, waiting for the turn. And that's how you do it. Then the same thing also happens at the top. If you see a very overbought situation, that's a good time to sell a covered call. We'll talk more about that in a minute too. And most recently this week, I actually bought on Monday a big bag of Tesla as well. And same thing, using this tool. So mean reversion is part 3. Now, part 4 is very important too. All right. It's not, how do I say, the allocations matter, not just in how you allocate your portfolio, but how much you buy at certain levels. This is absolutely critical. So if you see, say, Tesla at $250, yeah, that's not I don't want to destroy my very low cost average since 2017 by buying a lot at that level. But if we start going down near levels like 170, 150, 140, 106, this is when you have different behavior, okay? So here, again, based on the model, based on mean reversion, based on the macro, based on valuations, based on my price prediction models, etc., when you get down to 106, I throw everything at it. Literally everything. I start unscrewing furniture and selling it to throw everything at it here, because that's crazy. And then in the middle, you see, close to the 200-day moving average, a little dip, a little mean reversion. Then you do a little nibble, and then you go hard at 141 again, because you know what's going on in the market. So again, very important to have your perspective around allocations and the amount that you buy at certain levels. If we had a dip again down to, say, 140 one more time, that would involve me ditching a lot of my crypto and moving it in here because of relative price targets. We'll talk more about those in a second too. So this is a complex video today. Bear with me. This might be one that where you stop it and pause it, take notes, and come back and watch it again. But there's so much alpha in here. It's bonkers. And again, me, as you know from my trade alerts, I love nailing tops and bottoms of the market, because that's where you make and save a lot of money too. Now, this next question is kind of related to this one we just covered, so bear with me. And it's kind of, 3 people had this on their minds. Whoops, there goes my mic. It's on its own. So hold on, let me try to screw this puppy down. Hopefully it'll just stay. If not, it's okay. It's live TV. B-Man, thank you for coming. This is from Tyrannosaurus Rex, Quantum Twist, and VRB Runzer. Hope I got that right. Now, I plan to rotate out Cleanspark and add to my retire on Tesla bag. I'm worried Tesla will run before Cleanspark. What should I look for? Could you demo ATR model to highlight when to flip from Bitcoin MicroStrategy to Tesla? The easy way to interpret this question, it's people are in a lot of Bitcoin proxies. I am extremely heavy in Bitcoin proxies. If you add up my minor positions and my MicroStrategy position, that is over half of all my assets. That's how extreme it is. Very risky, but they cost me nothing in the bear market. So they blew up to huge positions because of leverage and options. I'm going to talk about a couple of things first, because allocations, like I mentioned before, really do matter. All right. My miners make up a small portion of my overall bag because they are risky. And this is not Cleanspark, but they are two of the top miners. If you look at their financial results, they lose money most of the time. Okay. And the key I have to stress here when you play miners, you got to buy them when they're super cheap and you rotate out at the right time. So the questions you guys are asking is the right question, but it's a ruthless cutthroat business. Not only do you have the miners not making money, but they dilute like crazy. This is just minor dilution the last 12 months. The numbers are bonkers. Massive dilution because they need to keep on buying modern rigs to be very effective and efficient and survive, especially post-halving. Massive part of it, the money either comes from debt. It's too expensive to get debt right now. The miners are too risky to be able to borrow debt, so they issue stock hand over fist, which dilutes price. Now, that's why we rotate out of miners when the time comes. Super important. But there's more. So, again, this is a big combo question from 3 people. So, I did warn you, it's going to be a complex video today. So, let's talk about why rotation. And again, this is also a big part of my focus because my crypto positions and proxies have completely exploded. Okay, like buying a truckload of Solana at $8. Now it's 150, and synthetic longs on MicroStrategy blew up my complete allocations. Cleanspark's low $2, and then selling calls against position, reducing your actual cost basis to a positive. You own hundreds of contracts, and they cost you nothing. So it's like you're playing with the table's money, and that's kind of what we do here, which is fun, but also risky. So remember risk. But this is where we really want to get to, is because you're thinking about rotating out of things like MicroStrategy, Bitcoin, Cleanspark into Tesla. Now, what I did was I pulled up my 2032 price targets for Bitcoin and Tesla. By the way, these price targets are from 2023 from my retire on crypto model, my retire on cocktail model. Okay. And I just took out Bitcoin and Tesla just for illustration purposes. Now, if you look at where we are right now, Bitcoin price at $66,705. Tesla's at 177 in after hours. My low target for 2032 for Bitcoin is 331. Low target for Tesla is 26,000 or 2,681. And my expected model is at least 551 for Bitcoin. Could be an awful lot higher. Tesla's $5,000. Excessive model, $1 million for Bitcoin and 8,000 for Tesla if all goes right by 2032. And what I did was I took an average of all of these. So I expect Bitcoin to be at least 623,000 in the year 2032. And that is 7 years from now, which is still extremely good. But if you look at the current price, that gives you a 9.34x of the 66K today to get to 623. If we look at the average of all the Tesla price targets that I have, okay, that's a 27x. So Tesla at the current price out to 2032 could outperform Bitcoin by 3x. But remember, Bitcoin's very scarce. Game theory could kick in. Bitcoin could go to $4.5 million, no problem. But I'm going to break down this even more because so much changed this week. It's been very hard to sleep because of the Tesla shareholder meeting. Not because it was terrifying, but because it was so exciting. So this is just one piece, one little piece of that meeting, okay? And I've got a whole free Substack on this. I wrote down every pertinent point that came out of Elon Musk's mouth and put it down here. And by the way, he's planning to send Starship back to space for the 5th flight ever and catch the booster with chopsticks. Don't fade Elon Musk. I know people don't like him. They probably don't like what he says on Twitter. But boy, is he one hell of a renaissance man. All right, Elon Musk math. Oh, by the way, he always delivers. He might be a bit late. He always delivers. Very important. And that's what I like in leadership and executives. So this is the Elon Musk math for Optimus, the bot. They believe they can sell this thing for $20,000. He did mention 30,000, but between 20 and 30K, let's call it 20K. Projected $1 trillion annual profit for Tesla. You add a 25 PE on this. This alone could bring the share price of Tesla, just the bot, to $8,333 a share. And they only need 10% market share for this to be achieved because everybody will need bots. And they already have 2 Optimus bots working in Tesla factories today. And they'll have 1,000 bots working in their factories, joining their workforce next year. Okay? This is happening. And people will think it's not real. Just like the Cybertruck's not real or is not bulletproof or anything else. It's real. Very real. By the way, I heard this for the Australians, if any are awake. 30,000 Cybertruck pre-orders out of Australia. And yes, it'll be coming to Australia. Right-hand drive. It's the beauty of steer-by-wire. Anyway. And then you add in the Robotaxi Cybercab. The math of that is 5 to 8 trillion in market cap. So things get really bonkers really fast. And we have Tasha Kearney on TV saying in 4 to 5 years, their base case is $2,600 a share. $2,600 a share. Now, I know this is a long-winded answer, but I'm trying to get to why people would consider pivoting from, say, a Bitcoin proxy or even Bitcoin into Tesla. Because this model is before all the crazy stuff that happened last week. I will be updating all my models and doing a Tesla video on this next week, which will be mind-blowing. But let's get back to MicroStrategy. Told you we'd be bouncing all over the place. It's complex, but this is a very complex question. So let's go. MicroStrategy. The top target based on the Lila model is 2,742. And that sounds crazy, but we've already been at 2,000. So getting to 2,742, not a problem. For this to happen, we need Bitcoin to go to about 120K, which I think is achievable. I think there's a good 60 to 80% chance we get there. But Bernstein came out this week as well. They placed a target for MicroStrategy, $2,890 for the company shares. They believe it's substantially overvalued. So how do you play this? And this is the biggest question that I have on my mind. I literally do not sleep. I lay awake thinking about this. And this is a very sneak preview. Has never been seen before in the world. New model coming soon. It's ugly. It's messy. But what we're going to do is tie in layers, optimize profit-taking layers based on probabilities and curves and all sorts of crazy math, and be able to tell, based on somebody's cost basis, where they should take profit and where they should rotate to. And it'll also show you the opportunity, of course, of what you have, what you're holding, and what you have foregone. So, for example, cost basis on Bitcoin is 20K, goes to 100K. All right. Then you start taking profit. By the time it gets to 120K, you'll have 60% of it off the table. If it goes higher, if it goes to say 180, 200K, then you take the next 20%, but you'll always keep some, but you'll be layering out heavily based on your cost basis, which ties into account your tax implication if you do have that for the asset. So that's what's really exciting about this. So question is, when do you take profits? How much do you take? And what do you rotate into? This takes us to the next piece of this puzzle. This is the pair on ATR, which is going back to the question of MicroStrategy divided by Tesla. When you look at the history of where it's come from, there used to be typically parity shares. You know, one MicroStrategy share was equal to one Tesla share. Now it's 8.4 Tesla shares for every MicroStrategy share. I have a very large MicroStrategy position. What nags me all the time is when I start rotating. So the reason we're building all this stuff is also for me, because I need to do it too. Okay, like investing in MicroStrategy has already blown up my Tesla bag by over 8x. How is that possible? Options, which is we'll get to in a minute as to how they work too. But here, I do believe ultimately MicroStrategy will mean revert to 4 Tesla shares. Currently, it's 840. Would it be prudent right now? If you had 0 Tesla position, imagine you've got a $100,000 portfolio, you've got nothing in Tesla, and you have, say, 40, 60% in MicroStrategy, which is kind of where I am. What would you do? Well, you start, maybe you sell 10% of your MicroStrategy, start building that Tesla bag before Tesla does this. Because unless AI is nothing, and unless Robotaxi is nothing, and unless Optimus bot is nothing, that's the only way Bitcoin outperforms Tesla right now. And these are very strong words, and I know Bitcoin maxis will hate me, and people think it's only Bitcoin. But no, I chase alpha, and I optimize the amount that I buy, like we discussed at the very beginning. I show that chart again to make sure, because this is the most complex thing I've ever done. When things are super cheap, you go super hard, okay? You throw everything at it. When Tesla was at $106, you throw everything at it. When it goes $140, you throw as much as you can at it. You go hard. You start deploying whatever cash you have left. You get rid of your dogs. No, I love dogs, but dog is an old term for a non-performing stock. So I hope that's clear, everybody. We're getting to that stage where things are going to get really crazy. And when we time it, when we move, for those 3 that asked the same question, I will, as usual, I share every step I do live in real time, but we are getting ready and we're finalizing the model and the optimization of the layers to do this. And yes, you know, what's his name? Something Mao, Samson Mao could be right. Jack Dorsey could be right. Bitcoin could go to $1 million next year. That's fine. But we have to play probabilities. If you're waiting for $1 million Bitcoin, you could be waiting till 2035. And that's too long. And then you miss the other boats. But if you take part of what you have and allocate strategically, I'll always hold some Bitcoin. Okay? But you allocate strategically to faster horses at the right time. That is the magic of investing, everybody. So hope that answers your question. And there's a lot of tools, a lot of science, a lot of math behind this. And we will be sharing it all when the time comes. And the time is coming real soon too, by the way. Now, Mike Smith, another question related to the same thing. Everybody's talking about Tesla and trading Tesla and everything else. And by the way, I do not pick the questions. I do not make them up. You do. So, and it's probably so many Tesla questions because of the actual board meeting this week. And it is the most important stock. All right. Tesla Mike Smith recently began using IA PTOS, which is pair trading on steroids. I bought enough Tesla to trade options in an IRA account. I sell covered calls at or near the money on the Tesla sell signal 1 week out rather than swapping to TSLAC. Is this a reasonably good strategy, or increase my bag and utilize the model? Or more like picking up pennies in front of a freight train? I feel like Teslas will pop soon, 2 months out. You guys are thinking perfectly well. All of these questions, you're absolutely thinking what I'm thinking every single day. So yes, one of my biggest fears, we'll get to that as well. So you're kind of like picking up the pennies is very important. Let's look at the PTOS model as well. A quick refresher for those that do not know what it is. It's designed to trade inverse correlated assets like Tesla, TSLAC, Sol 3x long, Sol 3x short, Bitcoin, BITO, BITI, long short Bitcoin, whatever you want to trade. It tells you exactly when to get in, when to get out. So this is the first thing. We're using Tesla and TSLQ. That's the inverse signal at the bottom right corner there. Also, I use the z-scores of 2.5 plus for the upper bound and 2.5 negative for the lower bound. That gives you the actual line of where to play. Then when you have all of this, this is the PTOS model on the hourly chart. Okay, when you're doing things like covered calls, I like to use the hourly for this pair. And here at the bottom, this is your PTOS model. When you go below that 2.5 deviation, that is your signal. You wait for the flag at the top. It will say buy Tesla. Then you wait for it to be confirmed at the bottom. Then you wait for the trend to turn to flip blue. And then you do it again. So we would have done this on April 22nd. We would have gone into the trade, even though there were 3 or 4 or 5 sell flags. The blue trend is still up. That keeps you in the trade. We'll talk about that in a second too. Next, buy signal. And this is the buy side. We'll get to the sell side in a second. In the middle, that was May 12, 13, 14. Again, confirmed. Buy signal at the top, confirmed at the bottom. You wait for the bottom confirmation first. Third one, June 5th or so. Again, trend was still down. You get the buy signal. You wait because you do not get the confirmation at the bottom. Okay, standard deviation was not there. The z-score is not there. Then you get more buy signals, and then they are confirmed, and then you wait for the trend to turn, and you go, boom. It is stealing candy from a baby. Not that I'd ever do that. This is the sell side. This is where you now sell those calls. Same thing. Red, sell signal. You ignore the big blue thing in the middle. The trend keeps you in the trade, so you do not sell until the trend turns. Okay? Confirmed at the bottom, then you hedge. Hedge, you sell your call. By the way, when you are selling a call, try to do just a fraction out of the money and make sure you get juicy premium. And typically after a big spike like this, the premiums are juicy. Second thing, you hedge Tesla, it's confirmed below. Third, hedge Tesla, confirmed below. You're in and out every single month. And this thing is right 93% of the time. Okay? It's, stealing candy from a baby. And this is, the ROI on this tool is bonkers. Anyway, as long as you have some level of sophistication, it's not, if you don't know how to trade, it's a sophisticated tool. But if you want to give yourself 10 hours of studying it, paper trading with it, it's golden. But remember, the most important thing you did say, kind of like picking up pennies, one of the things that really makes me nervous, because I want to keep my Tesla. I know where it's going, but don't get greedy selling calls too often. Sell them when you know it's going to mean revert, or else you will lose your bag. And you might not get a chance to get back in. This is my fear with something like Tesla. I know it's going to go really high. I don't know when, so I only sell it at these extremely pico levels. And this brings back mean reversion we showed earlier. Extreme overbought conditions is when you actually sell calls. And always, if you want to retain your bag, not be like, this guy losing, I got to hand over my bag, I'm very sad. No, you have a mental stop loss in your head. So imagine you sell Tesla $200 calls for $20. Your break even's $220. If Tesla goes to 221, you cover that call, you roll up and you sell it out again. You sell the 220s and you just eat it. So make sure you got the cash in the bank to be able to roll up when the time comes. Always watch the chart, always watch the trend. So hope that helps, and good luck with your IRA retirement account. Next question is from Delmos, back to crypto. Pantera has made a large investment in TON. It's a layer 1 network, originally designed by Telegram. Did you ever analyze this coin, and what are your thoughts on Toncoin? Yes, I have actually. I've analyzed everything. I'm always looking for Sol Killer, whatever that may be. And this one is super interesting. And I saw it quite a while ago, but I was turned off because I'm a little bit risk averse. Okay, I'm not a degen. And let me explain the good and the bad. First of all, 30,000 foot view, the Telegram Tango, the connection between TON, which is the open network, and Telegram is kind of like it's a good thing and a bad thing. Telegram has a massive user base, I think 800, 900 million users, and that could catapult Ton to stardom. Okay, that's good. But Ton is also subject to the whims of the market. There are some regulatory challenges I'll get into in great detail in a second. Also, Ton is not the only player in the decentralized messaging game. There are other players that do this too, although they have a very, very dominant position. And blockchain technology is extremely complex, and so is Ton. Could they be a true layer 1 to challenge the others? I don't know. Can they run video games on their platform, Telegram? Yes, they can. Can they run trading bots? Yes, they can. Can they be a true layer 1? No, they can't, from our analysis. And also, the biggest fear that I have is not just the technical weakness, delays, security issues, but there's more. Let's talk about the let's talk about the TVL first. It is extremely impressive, the TVL growth. You can see here now it's up about $600 million and it's growing like a weed, heavy staking. That's a big positive. Also, another big positive is Pantera Capital. They've invested in Ton blockchain, like you mentioned, and they are looking to capitalize on Telegram users. Pantera also invested in Sol, so Pantera really know what they're doing. But remember, VCs and investors, they don't get in as necessarily at the same price that you get in too. Now let's talk about one of the things that kept me away is regulatory risk. The original reason we built the crypto compendium is to focus on regulatory risk and exposure, and it's become so much more complex. But first of all, I do not use the Telegram app. So if you see somebody on Telegram saying they're me, it's not me, and I'll never reach out. So a quick reminder, actually, if anybody ever hears from me on any channel, whether it's some Discord or Twitter or Instagram, whatever, I don't have the time. It's never me. It's a scammer. Okay? So I know, just remember that. I'll never ask you for anything as well. Should be very clear to everybody who watches this channel. But the US is not a fan of the app security and privacy features, just like they're not a fan of TikTok. And Telegram uses end-to-end encryption. And you know, Uncle Sam, that makes them a little bit nervous. They like to watch what's going on and snoop in on private chats to keep tabs on potential threats, etc. Telegram's also popular with hackers, scammers, and terrorists. In fact, Telegram was always known as Crypto Scam Central. So be careful, all right? Just be careful out there. Telegram is also used by activist journalists, again, making it unpopular with the US. And Pavel Durov is based in Dubai. They don't like that either. And there's a lot of talk about putting in the same category as TikTok. However, we all know government banning big crypto or an app or something is kind of meaningless. They'll try, but what will it do? It's like using a banana as a hammer. It's not going to get you very far. So that's the regulatory stuff. That did give me some pause. Also, the Compendium Score is not good. Ranked 61 out of 68 of just the Layer 1 SCPs. There's now 68 Layer 1 smart contract platforms. 68 of them. And that doesn't even take into account all the Layer 2s as well. It's crazy. So for me, it has a lot of very good things about it. Bad things about it. Could it do well? Yes. Okay. But I am risk averse and I only like pristine asset. Okay. When I compare Solana to Ton, Solana wins. That's it. And that's my focus. I don't invest in 60 things. I invest in very, very few. Crypto, basically, I'm two things. All right. And of course, some crypto proxies too. So just, it is an interesting project. Not dinging it. Don't have it. Not buying it. I'd have to sell another pristine asset for it. And I like to be in the top 1% of assets. So I hope that helps. And the Ton coin has done very, very well too. And remember as well, one asset will always have its day in the sun and do really well. The mistake you can make is chasing things after they pop. And this is, for years, I always get the question, What about this? But it's normally after they've run 600, 800%. By that time, too late. So maybe too late. We'll see. Next question is from Raiders. My bank, a Spanish one, has just frozen my business account as they say they are investigating me, even though we are 100% legitimate. How can we protect ourselves from a corrupt system that has now put my business at risk and unable to operate whilst they dictate what we can and can not do with our hard-earned money? Are they investigating me because I've moved fiat into crypto investments? The answer is probably. So there's a lot of stories. I could list off so many banks that have frozen people's accounts, both personal and business accounts. There's people in the UK that have been completely unbanked. But let's talk about this one, Santander, which is also, I think, a Spanish bank, if I'm not mistaken. It's also a major bank in the UK. It has implemented a lot of restrictions on its customers, the ability to transfer funds to exchanges, and they've been doing this for years. They limit the amount to, I think, £1,000 a transaction, a total limit of like £3,000 over 30 days. And even people like a guy called, I think, Chris from Cheeky Crypto got debanked. They basically, I don't know what they did exactly, but it's a story going around. So yeah, this is very common. Be careful who you bank with, okay? If you are with a bank that does not like you moving your money to a crypto exchange, you should not be with that bank. I hope I'm being perfectly clear. No offense to Santander, but boy, if I was with a bank that was controlling me like that, I'd say, see ya later. But what you can do, and considering it's your business, and if your business is at risk, this is a 5-alarm fire that you need to get on top of right away. First of all, I would advise seek advice from a lawyer specializing in banking and finance law to understand your rights and the legal options available to you. They will guide you through the process and let you know what you can do to navigate the situation effectively. Do this right away. Your business is at stake. You could lose everything, and that would be a terrifying position to be in. Also, document everything. Keep a detailed record of all communication with the bank. Save everything. Make notes. Record phone calls, communications, dates, times, names of the people you spoke with, their badge number if you can get it. And this documentation will be crucial if you need to prove your case later, especially if you incur damages and they screwed you over for no cause. You can sue them. Also, request detailed information. Ask your bank for a detailed explanation of why your account was frozen and what specific actions are being investigated. And this information can help you better understand the situation and prepare a response or defense or a legal action or whatever else. And cooperate with the investigation. I know it's very frustrating. I'd be very nervous right now. But if they do ask you for information, give it to them promptly in a clear, organized, truthful manner. And also, consider you got to get another bank right away. Even though your assets may remain frozen, have another bank that is a fair, decent, proper bank. And finally, review your financial practices. Make sure nothing threw a red flag in their system. And that's it. So very, very sorry about your situation, but be careful out there and go after them right away. Next is from GR Dell. What do you think of Riot's attempted takeover of Bitfarms? I have shares of Bitfarms and do not understand this poison pill. Bitcoin miner Riot Platforms attacks takeover target. Bitfarms over poison pill. Not sure what happens if Bitfarm does this. Will I lose my shares and what will happen in these situations? No, you're going to be just fine. I own Bitfarm in about $1 and I still hold. Let's try breakdown. And again, I haven't spent too much time because my Bitfarms position is like 3% of my miner's position, which is a small overall position, but I do own Bitfarms. But here, let me try to break it down. The poison pill is designed to thwart a hostile takeover by Riot, and it's a defensive measure. It's also known as a shareholder rights plan, and it's designed to make acquisitions prohibitively expensive. So under the plan that takes effect on, I think, 20th of June in about 4 days, if any entity acquires more than 15% of Bitfarms before September 10th, or 20% after that date without adhering to specific conditions, existing shareholders will have the right to purchase additional shares at a discount, diluting the acquiring entity's stake. Okay? So that means you will be fine, but they're going to dilute the acquirer, which would be Riot. And this move follows the unsolicited bid to acquire Bitfarms for, I think, originally $950 million in April 2024. Bitfarms said, no, we're worth a lot more than that. They deemed it very significantly an undervalued offer. And now their stake, if I'm not mistaken, is close to 12%, maybe more, through open market purchases. And Bitfarms' board believes Riot's continued acquisitions could disrupt their strategic review process if they get too much control, too many shares. And this adoption of this poison pill strategy is subject to approval from Bitfarms shareholders and the Toronto Stock Exchange. So you have to see what's going on. But overall, I think it's fair if Bitfarms believe they are worth more than $1 billion. Wait, and this poison pill thing can be done quite often as well. So do not worry about it. You'll be fine. And in fact, what I like about this, it puts a floor price on Bitfarms. I think when they first started buying, it was about $2, $2.30 was the offer. So you know that buying Bitfarms under $2.30 was a great deal. I think now it's closer to $3. So again, good to see. And we've seen some very interesting shakeups happen as well with the miners right now. People want that HPC component. They've discovered some of these miners have huge data centers in the right places with very cheap energy. And that's worth more than the Bitcoin mining business. So it changes the calculus entirely, which is good, which ties into the AI revolution that we started with at the beginning. Now, next question from Austin N. And beware, sometimes people ask me questions because they want me to pump something or whatever. Beware of crypto. 99% is a scam. Could you check out Falk's DEX too? It's a new DEX in Solana. It seems very fast compared to Raydium and Jupiter. I think it could be the next solalt gem. So first of all, it has a colorful history. And because it has a colorful history, I didn't dive very deep because fool me once, not good. But I found this somewhere on the internet, written by the founders of this. Together we went into the flames, and then we were rising from the ashes like a phoenix. Then after gaining our strength, we evolved into Fall X DEX, which is a silly name, like Falcon, Phoenix. I don't know where they get it from. I don't know. Anyway, but they lost in the past. There used to be a thing called Sol X, which failed. And now they're trying again under a new branding, new name, same team. Will they fail again? Probably. You like people to win. A repeat history of winning. Okay? Winners win. Those that fail tend to fail again, just based on experience. So, top 10 wallets, nearly half is in the top 10 wallets. Another little red flag. I could not find any data on how much volume they process, but Raydium and Orca do the lion's share. So they are not a Raydium killer or Orca killer. And especially in this space, it's very hard to dislodge some of these existing players. And Raydium this week actually overtook Uniswap as well. So no, it's not a gem, I believe. I could be wrong, but I wouldn't touch it because I'm risk averse. And I like alpha, but you know what I hate? I hate losing money. Favorite part of the week, helping animals. And this week we donated to the Sloth Institute to help support the Care Food and Shelter for the following. This is Grogu. He's a sloth and he's the cutest thing I've ever seen. And he was rescued a couple of days old due to mother's passing, but hopefully will be rehabilitated and released into the wild. I would love to get one day too and have a plantation for it to be on. So shout out to the team tomorrow. Live DCA. I'm moderating tomorrow, so it'll be fun questions for CTO and Mando. And thank you for coming. Now I'm going to do some open questions. And sorry, that was a very complex show today, but it shows you the sophistication of the Patreon community to be asking these types of questions. And you're doing all the right things. So let's go. And a big thank you once again to the mods in the chat as well. I better drink some caffeinated white tea. Doc intern again. Hey, buddy. Have you checked NOS Sol pair for arbitrage? Seems to behave kind of like MicroStrategy Bitcoin did in early 2023, but moving way quicker. What would be the best way to play this? Okay, this is a super question. So I spent at least 4 months, late 2023 to the first quarter in 2024, to build an ARB, a dedicated ARB model for Sol and Solalts. Tireless hours trying to crack the code on these things. I couldn't. With a team, 3 other people, we could not. We built all sorts of models. We could not make it work because there's so many factors that drive these things. Pumpers, unlocks, volume, somebody saying something. It was just, I like models that work 80% of the time. We couldn't make this thing work half of the time. So I really tried, Doc. Great question. Could not work it. I will check the NOS Sol pair. I'll throw something on Patreon later if I can crack the code. But we checked hundreds of pairs. Hundreds. And we even tried to check pairs of Sol and Solalts against other cryptos. We could not make it work. So maybe is this the other problem is these things are so small, market caps of them, a little bit of volume, like if I was doing, say, a $10,000 buy on something, it would spike the price because, on a weekend, there's simply nothing trading. And that makes it really difficult too, because they're so thinly traded. It makes it hard, but I'll revisit and I'll check that NOS Sol pair. Iron, thank you, James and I team, for everything you do. Life-changing information. Shout out to Blue Dragon, great person, always supporting this community. Yes. Shout out to Blue Dragon too. And of course, Iron. Blue Dragon puts some of my Dune queries together as well. He's awesome. Summer of 74. We love you, James. You're one awesome human being. You are too. Thank you, Team New Zealand. It's very humbling. Okay, this is another one from Saber. TokenFi will be making waves. Tokenization will shape the future, brother. Stay strong. Don't get shaken out. Good luck. I am doing a real-world asset video looking at all the top players, trying to identify ones. I was hoping to get it out last week, but it just takes so long, and I rather wait, make sure things are perfect before rushing things out the door. But I will definitely check that out, and it is something I have seen as well. Dave Costigan, are these PTOS charts on Tesla available to view or purchase? These PTOS charts, it's an app that you can pull down online. Just search PTOS, you'll see it. And you can play with it, test it out, and see how it goes. We also have a discourse community where all the support happens for these products. And you can hang out with guru traders that use this all the time and really learn. We've got literally the most sophisticated and best and biggest finance community on the planet. We just don't talk about it very much. So, and happy feet. Happy Father's Day. Thank you so much. All the best to you and yours. Thank you as well for you and always being here. Happy feet from day one. Day one back in 2021. I remember. I never forget. Never forget a name. Buckhorn. Thank you, James, as well. And thank you for your super sticker. Max Grease, Bert Frank, Signal 103, B-Man63, AZ Roller, Forrest M, and Theo Sue. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. Have a great Father's Day. Go out and have some fun. And I'll see you all tomorrow morning, bright and early, for DCA. Thanks all. Thank you to the mods in chat, too. And I think I can't even find my tools. There it is. There it is. It's, if you guys saw the dashboard I got to try and manage, you'd lose your mind. Thanks all. Bye.